burger time. I've got to flatten it first.
Go on. And she's drinking this beer. No, we're joking. That's mine. That's mine.
Okay, so just to let you know, I would never do this if I wasn't on prep. But you know, I love it. So it's my light mayonnaise. I need some sauce, right? I don't want to waste my calories on Chipotle sauce, which is probably like 500 calories, when that's like 90 calories. So there you go.
Whoa, what's this?
That's how we do it. Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then welcome. My name is Emily and I'm super freaking pumped to have you here. I'm a WBFF pro, women's fat loss coach, and providing you with no BS fitness advice. Now this is episode 2 of my WBFF World Pro Debut Prep Series. Today I wanted to talk all about eating out. Now every single tip I'm gonna give you today is gonna help you massively. The tip number 5, which is the last one, is gonna be the most important one to make sure that you set yourself up for success. If you miss this most important tip, this is probably going to be the reason why you are never able to eat out with your friends and family guilt-free. And I promise you that when you take every single bit of advice today, plus the last tip, you will absolutely boss it and you will be eating out with your friends and family guilt-free in no time. I wanted to bring you this content today because I know so many of you girls will start a diet and the first thing you do is stop yourself from going out. Automatically we think we can't eat out anymore, no more alcohol, no more burgers, no more pizza, right? This is usually what goes through our head. I just want to state that the tips I'm going to give you today are for the people who do have strict goals like myself. I'm not going to be drinking tonight, that's for sure, because that's just going to slow down my process. And I am going to be accounted for everything I eat. But if I was not prepping right now, I would still do this down to a degree, but not all the time. This is what I want to get across, okay? Memories over macros. If you don't have strict goals, you do not have to account for every little thing. When I'm not on prep, I will go out for a burger and a pizza and not track a single thing. I've done this for years. I've got a good gauge of food and portion sizes now, but I'm mindful of what I'm doing. But for today's episode, I am going to be giving you my 5 top tips on how to track and account for everything to the best of your ability. Now, before we get into the tips, I do just want to say and remind you girls that what I'm going to be talking about today is not going to be perfect. This is really important to get across, girls. Even when I'm tracking and I'm eating out and I'm on prep, nothing is going to be 100% accurate. However, we can still apply this to the best of our ability and make sure that we get it as close as we can with the tips I'm going to give you, but it's never going to be perfect. And I really wanted to get that across to start because I know that so many of you, especially when you're dieting, overcomplicate everything so much and think that it has to be perfect to get a result. Now, for me being on prep, I know that fitness trackers are not 100% accurate. What they put on the website and in their foods is not going to be 100% accurate. Nothing is 100% accurate. However, we can use these tips that I'm going to give you today to help us be as accurate as we can and give us an extra bit of room just in case there is error. But the one thing that we need to understand is that it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. And this is what we need to learn, that in life, to get an amazing result, you do not have to be 100%. Unless you're like me and you're prepping for a show, try and be as 100% as I can. But even at this point for me, this isn't going to be spot on. It's going to be enough for me to still get an incredible result. So tip number 1 is to plan your entire day first and do not starve yourself. I see this happen so many times. Girls say, I'm going to eat out tonight. I'm not going to eat anything throughout the day. They completely starve themselves. And this is the wrong approach to take because one, not only are you going to be absolutely starving throughout the day, you're not going to have energy for your day-to-day activities or if you're training, for example. But secondly, this is going to lead to you possibly eating more and binge eating later on in the day. So for example, if you don't eat anything all day, you get to the restaurant and you're freaking starving, you're probably more likely going to order everything on that menu and the drinks and the pudding and the starters and the main, right? And there's nothing wrong with that from time to time. However, if you have goals right now that you want to achieve, going in with that mindset and overeating that much can take you out of your calorie deficit or your maintenance, wherever you're at right now, and can undo a whole week's worth of work. Now, one thing to remember is it does take 3,500 calories to put on a pound of fat over your maintenance. So you would still have to eat a shit ton of calories in that meal. Now, the whole point of this video is to give you tips on how to do this properly. So if you were to starve yourself, it's gonna do the opposite effect, right? We're not gonna be making mindful choices. We are gonna overeat, maybe a little too much, and that's not what we want. So what we need to do is we need to plan out our entire day first. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna show you exactly how I do this. Now, whatever food tracking app you are using, you could do this on anything. I personally use MyFitnessPal, and I get the premium one as well, so I can see my macros and my calories at the top bar. Honestly, it just makes it so much easier than keep going back and forth onto that pie chart, which does my head in. So if I know that I'm gonna be eating out, like tonight, I'm gonna be eating a burger. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plan that in first. So with me putting in my Bill's burger and my fries says to me that I'm gonna be having 1,100 calories, okay? So that's 1,100 calories of my day eaten up, which leaves me with 1,300 calories because today is a refeed day. So I've actually got more calories to play around with today, which is why I've chosen today to go out and eat more food, because I have more calories to play with. So if I was only eating 1,600 calories today, I would not be eating out. Like for example, if that Bill's meal took me over 1,200 calories, I'd only have 500 calories left to eat throughout the day, which is not a lot. That's like one meal, and I know that I would be freaking starving throughout the day, so it's not a smart choice to make. However, because I have more calories today, I am gonna go out and I still have 1,300 calories left. Now, even though it's 1,300 calories, I still love my food, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that I get as much food as I can for those calories. How I do this first is, now Bill's is planned, I'm gonna plan the rest around it. So with my breakfast, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put that in. So I usually have oats with almond milk and berries. For lunch, I'm gonna go for a salad option this time because it is only coming in just under 400 calories. So once that's all in, now I can see that I have hit all my macros, I've still hit my fiber, I've still hit my protein goal. And the one thing you wanna do when you're doing this and you're planning your day in is make sure that you hit your protein still and you hit your fiber goal. It's not the end of the world if you're slightly over your fat or over your carbs, vice versa. As long as you still hit that protein, you're within your calorie range, that's gonna be the most important thing. So that brings me on to tip number 2, which is swap, don't remove. So let's say, for example, my oats meal usually had banana in it and had 70 grams of oats. All I'm gonna do is remove that portion size. So rather than having 70 grams of oats, maybe I have 40 or 50. Rather than having a banana, I'll have berries because they're lower in calories. A banana is about 24 grams of carbs and a handful of berries is about 5 grams. What I'm doing is just reducing my portion sizes, and you can do this throughout the day as well. So rather than having maybe carbs in your dinner or your lunch, maybe you just have a high protein, some fats in there, lots and lots of veggies as well for lots of volume, and then therefore you can save those carbs for later on in the day. So what I'm doing is I'm not starving myself, I'm just thinking smarter. I'm reducing those portion sizes throughout the day and making sure that I'm still giving my body energy throughout the day. So for my day-to-day activities and my workouts, I'm completely starving myself. So when I get to that meal in the evening, I feel satisfied, maybe a little bit hungry and excited to tuck into a burger, but enough to not let it lead on to wanting more. So that brings me on to tip number 3, which is plan ahead and look at the menu in advance. What this is gonna allow you to do is for you to be able to plan your day. So like we just said, if you wanna plan the entire day, you need to know what you're going to eat ahead of time. And as I said, guys, if you're not tracking what you're doing, fair enough, turn up and decide on a day. However, if you want to track what you're doing and actually make sure that you stay on top of your goals, like I said, you don't go overboard in the evening, definitely plan ahead. Now, the best thing about this is apps like MyFitnessPal already have most chain restaurants meals based into their database. So all you have to do is type it, find it, and select it. Now, the only thing of this is sometimes the information is not always the same as what they say it is. Sometimes you will see a food and it will have the calories on there, but no macros. To avoid this mistake, what I would suggest, and this is what I'm gonna be doing today, is going over to the restaurant's website or grabbing a menu and looking ahead of time. And most chain restaurants will have the whole breakdown of everything that you need, right? It will have the calorie breakdown, the macro breakdown, and most of them should have this on their website. website. So here's an example of how you would track in MyFitnessPal. Let's pick Nando's, it's the most easiest one. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into MyFitnessPal. Because I've done this quite a lot, it's already saved as my frequent, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna show you how you would search. You're gonna go to add food, you're gonna go to the search bar. I'm gonna type in Nando's butterfly chicken breast because that is the one. It's my absolute fav. Now, as you can see, it brings up so many different options. The calories are slightly different, the macros are slightly different. So in this situation, if I thought, there's too many decisions here, I'm not sure what's the right one, then I would go over to their website to see if I could find the nutritional information on there. Now for this instance, I would always go for the one that was the highest in calories. 259 or 332, it's the UK one, so I'm gonna click on that. And then it brings up the protein, the fats, and the carbs. So this to me shows me, okay, this looks about right. A chicken breast that size is probably gonna be about 60 grams of protein. There's gonna be a little bit of fat in it, not too much, and obviously there's gonna be no carbs. So this looks pretty decent to me. The sides, again, if I'm going for lower calories, I'll probably go for rice. But today I fancy some chips. So I'm gonna type in chips, and then as we can see, there's ones that are 385, 450, $517, right? So they do vary quite a lot. Now, I love to overestimate this stuff because, as I said, you can never be 100% accurate. So you definitely want to go for the one that's on the higher end, because what we need to remember is that they will add extra oils and stuff to our foods. So if we can account for that ahead of time, it's going to save us the calories. So in this situation, I'm going to go for the 517 ones. And I love coleslaw, so I'm going to type in Nando's coleslaw. Now again, we've got 399 calories, 263. So the 399 is a large. I'm just gonna go for a regular. So I'm gonna go for the 263 because there's quite a few different versions of those, which shows me that this is probably a good one. It's got 23.7 grams of fat, which sounds about right. Not a lot of protein and a little bit of carbs. So I'm gonna go for this. So there you have it. I've got my meal planned out, 1,112 calories. Now what I'm gonna do is show you how you would do that if you couldn't find the information on MyFitnessPal. So let's use Nando's again for the same example. So let's say you was a bit unsure and uncertain. Head over to their website. It does take a little bit of hunting to find these things. I literally just had to spend about a couple of minutes clicking on different things. I got there eventually. All you're gonna do is head over to their menu, and they actually have the calories on the items. So it says here that the chicken butterfly is 332 calories. Now if I click on that, scroll down, it says nutritional information. Now it's gonna bring up all the calories and the macros. Really, really important. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna compare it to what MyFitnessPal told me. The one on MyFitnessPal is 332 calories, exactly the same as the website. It says that the protein on the website is 59.4. On MyFitnessPal, it's 59.4. So the one that I got from MyFitnessPal is actually spot on to the one that's on their website. So this is a great little tip to use if you are ever concerned or you're like, is this right? Has someone put this in correctly? Just head over to their website. You might have to do a little hunting to find it, but that's how you would do it. If you are eating out, not in a chain restaurant, okay, maybe you can't find their nutritional information online, there are other ways of tracking this as well, which is gonna bring me on to my next tip, which is always overestimate. Now let's say, for example, you're eating at an independent restaurant, a nice little cafe or something like that, and you can't find the information. Now what you can do is keep it really, really simple. And for example, if I was gonna have steak and fries, I would go onto MyFitnessPal and I would type in rump steak, and then it's gonna bring up generic options, okay? It's gonna bring up loads and loads of different ones. So I'm just gonna pick on any one, but one that looks like it has enough protein in and calories. And what you're gonna learn as well is the more you do this, the more you have an eyeball for your portion sizes. I've done this for years now. I can go into a restaurant and know what 100 grams of steak looks like compared to 200 grams of steak, and vice versa. But what I would still do in this situation is always overestimate. So if that piece of steak come out and it looked about 120 grams, I would account for 150 to give me a little bit of a buffer. So even if I did underestimate the size of that steak or how much it weighed, I've still given myself enough breathing space to account for it. And you can use this for anything, right? And I always say, always overestimate, even if you've got the nutritional information of a website. So even though Nando's told me it was 1,112 calories. I'm actually gonna make space for 1,300 calories. I'm gonna give myself an extra 200 calories just in case on that day they decided to cook the chips in a little bit more oil, right? And this is a really good little tip, is if you are eating out, wherever you eat out, always put a tablespoon of olive oil into your macros for that day, because most of these chain restaurants are going to be cooking their foods in oils. They're going to be adding extra oils as well. So if you can plan for that ahead of time and overestimate, you're going to save yourself tons of calories. Now, the other thing outside of overestimating is also adding as well. So this is a good little bonus tip on top of this tip. If you are eating a burger and fries and maybe you wanted to make that meal more nutritious, all you need to do is get a side of vegetables. Or for example, most meals when you eat out, especially Italian restaurants, they do not give you a lot of protein. Your meal will come out and it'll be carb overloaded. So just say to them, look, can I have an extra portion of chicken on the side? Get your sauces on the side as well, so you are not accounting for those. If I see a meal and it said it's like seasoned vegetables, most of the time they're gonna season those vegetables in oil or butter. So you can just say to them, can I have the vegetables with no butter, no oil? I just don't like how it tastes, rather than I'm trying to save calories, right? To be that person. And then they'll be like, yeah, sure, no worries. They will account for this, guys. I think so many times we're afraid to ask these things, thinking that we're being inconvenient, but it's not, especially if you phrase it in the way like, I'm allergic to it, I don't like it. Usually my little go-to is I'm allergic, and then they definitely won't do it. Because at the end of the day, if you turn around and say, I'm on prep, they're like, what the fuck is that, right? These people don't understand what that concept is. So if you don't want to be that person, just say, I don't like it, or I'm allergic to it. The other thing with adding as well is this is going to keep you full. So if I just ordered Nando's, chicken breast and fries, it's carbs, it's protein, there's no vegetables in there as well, and it's the vegetables that are going to keep you fuller for longer. So I would always get a side of peas or tender stem. And another little tip that you can do is when you're eating your meal, think of eating your protein and your veggies first, and then maybe save the carbs for last. The reason for this is we know that protein is the most satiating macronutrient, plus having the vegetables as well, high in volume and fiber, and it's gonna keep you feeling fuller for longer. So if you can eat your protein and your veggies first, by the time you get to those chips or your garlic bread, whatever carbs you have, you're gonna get fuller quicker, which means that you're less likely to overeat or wanna start picking on your partner's plate. So this brings me on to my last tip, which is the most important one of all, is to set yourself guidelines. Now, in other words, you can say this is creating a strategy for yourself. But the one thing I find, especially being a coach, is if you say to someone, yeah, go out, enjoy yourself, but they don't have a plan, this is how it usually gets out of control. If you don't have a plan in life or a strategy for anything, of course, it's very easy to fall off track, to fall off plan, to make these little mistakes from time to time. But if you create your own guidelines and you are super clear on how you're going to get from A to B, on how you're going to eat out and still reach your goals, if you have a plan, it's so much easier to stay on track with what you're doing. So setting yourself some guidelines is what I personally do for myself and my clients. So for example, I told you today, I've set my guidelines that I'm going to go out this evening. I planned everything ahead of time. I know that the meal I'm eating is gonna be quite calorie dense, so I'm gonna reduce my portion sizes throughout the day. I'm not gonna be drinking any alcohol because I'm on prep, and I'm gonna make sure that I order my sauces on the side and ask for my vegetables to not be cooked in butter. So those are my guidelines, okay? I've set my plan, I've created my strategy, I know what I need to follow going into tonight, so when I do it, I'm not gonna be tempted to do other things because I know, right, this is set, this is my plan, and I'm gonna stick to it. This is the same strategy I apply to my clients. They say, I've got an event coming up. I say, cool, like what's gonna be going on? There's gonna be drinking involved, there's gonna be eating. I'm like, right, okay, so what do you want to do? Are you more fussed about drinking today? Are you more fussed about eating? I'll be like, I'm not really fussed about drinking, I really wanna eat a delicious meal. Like, awesome, so let's cut back on the alcohol, or we'll have like one drink and then just drink water for the rest of the night. Secondly, what are you more excited to eat? Are you looking forward to dessert? Are you looking forward to a main? I'm going to this place where they do the best desserts. I really want a dessert tonight. I'm like, fab. So why don't we skip out on the starter? We'll have a main that's, very protein based. We've got lots of veggies in there. And then you can go all in on dessert. Now, what this has done is it's created her strategy. She knows that she's gonna go into this meal. She's not gonna get a starter. She's gonna choose a main that's high in protein, lots and lots of vegetables. So that meal's gonna be a lot less in calories than it was if she was gonna go for a massive burger or a pizza. And then she's gonna save majority of her calories for her dessert that she's really looking forward to. Plus, she knows that she's not gonna be drinking. She might have one drink, go for a gym, gin or any kind of white spirits, champagne, something that's very low in calories, and then drink water for the rest of the night. Rather than saying, I'm gonna go out tonight and eat healthy. Just saying, I'm gonna go out and eat healthy tonight is not a clear guideline on how you're gonna do that. If I just said I'm gonna eat healthy tonight, but I didn't plan ahead, I could have easily already eaten 1,700 calories, gone out in the evening, said I'm gonna eat healthy. Maybe I did pick a healthy meal, but then I was having loads and loads of drinks, and then I wanted a starter and also a dessert. And let me just say, there is nothing wrong with doing that. There is a time and a place to go all in, all out. Christmas, birthdays, weddings. For me, if I'm not on prep, if it's like a special event or night, I will have starter, main, dessert, and all the drinks and not give a fucking shit. However, if you have goals to follow and you are doing this every single weekend and you don't have a plan, you're drinking all the drinks, eating all the food, no clear strategy in what you're doing, this is how you are easily undoing all that hard work throughout the week, or you're just maintaining where you're at. So create your strategy, set your guidelines, whatever that is. I'm gonna have a starter and a main, or I'm gonna have a main and a dessert, or I'm gonna go out and get absolutely wasted with the girls. I'm gonna make sure I eat very nutritious meals throughout the day. I'm gonna hit my protein, hit my water, hit all my fiber, and then get white girl wasted because it is my fucking birthday and I don't give a shit. You can have moments in your life where you wanna be mindful and not so mindful, but for the sake of this video, if you have fat loss goals right now, you wanna be mindful, you wanna account for as many things as you can, create your strategy, set your guidelines, and I promise you, it's gonna make your fat loss journey 10 times easier. So guys, I really hope that this was helpful. Please take these tips on board, and if they were useful and helpful, let me know in the comments, share your experiences with me, because I love to know if my content is helping you, plus what else you would love to see from my channel. As I said guys, I'm 17 weeks out and I'm applying this, so if I can get incredible results, there's no reason why you can't too. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next episode.